Some of you may or may not be familiar with Rod Serling. Rod Serling created a show called The Twilight Zone. And for those of you who don't know, it was a scary, thought-provoking show that aired in the 1950s, and it's considered a classic. And it was created, and the driving force behind it was Rod Serling. Now, the Twilight Zone, for those of you who haven't seen it, is what's called an anthology show, which means that it's a different show every week, different actors, different setting. It's like a little short story. If you've ever seen Black Mirror, that's an anthology show. It's different every week. Well, the Twilight Zone was the starter of all that. So the Black Mirror, all these are descendants of the Twilight Zone. So one day I stumbled across an old interview with Rod Serling. It was on YouTube, and it was raw footage from a documentary that I'm guessing never got made. And he's being interviewed by another famous sci-fi author who's trying to figure out, well, what's the secret? So he asked Rod Serling, well, how'd you do it? And so he answers, and the first time he answers is, well, you know, I got to do 24 of these a year. It's a half hour each. I've got 7 days to do it. I can't write all those, so I buy a lot of my stories. And the interviewer was a little bit, I think, taken aback. Well, you buy your stories, okay? Well, so what do you look for when you buy these stories? And he goes, well. The first thing I look for is it's got to be short. You know, it's a half hour, and that's 30 minutes, but they put commercials in there, so I really only have about 22 minutes to tell a story, so it's got to be kind of short. All right, says the interviewer. But what are you looking for in those short stories? Well, says Rod, it can't be too futuristic. It's got to take place kind of near our time frame because I just don't have enough money to make it look good in the future. Okay, it's got to be short. It can't be too much in the future. What else? You know, he keeps digging and digging. Well, it can't be in a spaceship. Spaceships are too hard to do. It's too expensive to make a spaceship look good, and I only have a week to do it, and blah 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 blah. And eventually, after about 5 or 6 of these kind of probes, eventually he starts to talk about, well, it's got to be thought-provoking, it's got to be this. What I thought was fascinating about all this was, here's the greatest, one of the acknowledged greats of the 20th century, a famous TV writer, and he's thinking budget, he's thinking timing, he's thinking scale, he's thinking of a lot of things that have very little to do with creativity and everything to do with logistics. If you don't have a good handle on the logistical side of a film, you just aren't going to be able to get it made. If Rod Serling has to worry about it, and people like Jordan Peele have to worry about it, it's something that you have to worry about. You have to have good management of your money, of your schedule, of your people. It's all important if you hope to get your project made. I realize that many of you who are taking this class are directors, you're writers, you're artists. And you have to understand that this class isn't designed to teach you how to direct. It's not designed to teach you how to write or do art direction or any of those things. This class is designed to help you be a producer. A producer is an organizer. A producer is essentially a project manager. And without project management, without a producer or you doing that producer role, your movie will never get made. An organized film project is a film project that has a shot at getting finished. Just getting finished. We're not even saying if it's any good or anything. Just getting it finished requires organization. And getting it finished is a huge battle. It's not a fun side of the business, but this is a business. And if you're going to get good at this business, you have to understand this side of it. If you want to be a part of all this in a real professional sense, you have to have a handle on what it means to produce. So buckle up and let's get to it.